The cold wind of Valoris moved across the royal courtyard as Princess Serenia walked alone beside the crystal pillars. The world around her shone like frozen silver. Yet she felt none of its beauty anymore. Every corner of the palace reminded her of the same truth people whispered about her. She was the barren princess, the one who could not form the sacred life bond her species valued more than anything. The nobles often bowed in front of her, but their eyes carried quiet insults. She pretended not to notice, even when she heard soft laughter when she passed. Serenia had learned silence long ago. It was easier than trying to defend herself. No one believed she could ever be anything more than a political burden. Even her own relatives treated her kindly, only in public. Alone, she was simply the princess who failed her duty. She walked slowly through the courtyard, trying to breathe normally, trying to ignore the ache in her chest. Every single day felt the same, until the day everything changed. A galactic meeting between the Valorian Empire and the Human Union was being prepared inside the Grand Hall. Representatives from Earth were arriving to discuss peace across the frontier zones. Serenia was not supposed to attend, but the Queen insisted she stand with the royal family for the ceremonial exchange. She did not like such events, but she obeyed. The nobles said a princess must smile even when her heart was breaking. When Serenia entered the hall, she felt dozens of eyes on her. She straightened her back and kept her face calm. In the center of the room stood the human delegation. She had seen humans before but never spoken to one. Most of them were tall, with different skin tones and strong features. One of them stood slightly behind the others, wearing a simple uniform with rescue patches on the shoulders. He looked calm, like someone who had seen storms and survived them. His name was Ethan Hale, though she did not know it yet. The Valorian nobles began the exchange. Gifts, speeches, empty words that made the room feel heavy. Then, in an unexpected moment, one noble stepped forward with a strange smirk. "To honor peace," he said loudly, "we offer a symbol of goodwill to the humans, a royal companion for their journey." Serenia felt her heart freeze when she realized they meant her. She saw several nobles hiding smiles. She understood the insult clearly. Giving her away was their way of mocking her. A barren princess carried no value in Valorian society, so offering her to a human made her a joke to them. Before she could protest, the Queen placed a hand on her arm. The Queen's eyes were soft but tired, as if she too understood the cruelty behind the act, but could not stop it. Serenia stepped forward because there was no choice. Ethan Hale, the human standing nearest, looked confused. He had not expected to be handed a princess like some object. Serenia bowed slightly. Ethan returned the gesture awkwardly but respectfully. He spoke in a soft voice that surprised her. "You don't have to do this if you don't want to." His words were simple, but no one had ever spoken to her like that. Not with concern, not with warmth. "It is already done," she replied quietly. "Please do not argue. It will only bring trouble." The ceremony ended, and the nobles walked away as if the matter was small and meaningless. Ethan did not move for a long moment. He looked at Serenia like a person, not an object. That alone confused her. "Where would you like to go?" he finally asked. "I am assigned to your care," she said, lowering her eyes. "Take me wherever your duties require." "I am assigned to your duties require." He watched her with a thoughtful expression. "That doesn't sound right." Serenia had no answer. Nothing in her life ever felt right. Ethan brought her aboard his ship, a medium-sized frontier vessel named the Aurora Line. She stepped inside carefully. Human technology felt different from Valorian designs, more warm lights, more personal touches, tools, small gadgets, a jacket thrown over a seat. The ship felt lived in, not like the cold palace she grew up in. "You can choose any room," Ethan said. "But if you want the quieter one, it's near the back." Serenia had expected him to order her, not offer choices. She paused, unsure how to respond. Thank you." Ethan nodded and guided her down the hallway. He explained things softly, how the rooms worked, how to adjust the temperature, how to contact him if she needed help. She listened silently, studying him. Humans were emotional, unpredictable, and sometimes loud. But Ethan was different. He seemed steady, with quiet strength. He moved with the confidence of someone who had saved many lives, but never boasted about it. When he left her alone in her room, Serenia sat on the bed and pressed her hands together. She did not understand why her chest felt lighter around him. For years, her body had been dull and cold, her energy unstable. Yet since stepping aboard his ship, there was a strange warmth settling inside her. Like something waking up. Hours passed as they traveled toward the human frontier. Serenia explored the ship softly, trying not to disturb anything. She found Ethan in the control room, adjusting navigation settings. "You can sit if you like," he said without turning. "It's a long journey." She sat beside him. The stars outside the window stretched like silver threads. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful. Ethan studied her carefully. "Can I ask something? Why did they send you with us? You didn't look happy about it." Serenia hesitated. Telling him the truth felt embarrassing. But he had been kind since the moment they met. "My people believe I am barren," she said finally. "A princess without the ability to bond or continue our lineage. It is seen as a shameful weakness. Giving me to a human was their way of laughing at me." Ethan looked at her with a seriousness that made her chest tighten. "That isn't right." She lowered her gaze. "It is normal for my people. Then your people need to learn what respect is," he said simply. "You're not something to be given away." And his words shook her more than she expected. She kept her eyes on her hands, not trusting her voice. As the hours passed, they talked more about humans, about her world, about the differences between their species. Serenia found herself relaxing, something she rarely experienced. Ethan asked questions, but never ones that made her uncomfortable. He laughed softly at small things, and the sound eased the tension in her mind. When the ship entered a nebula region, Serenia felt a sudden wave of dizziness. Her vision blurred, and a warm pulse moved through her chest. She grabbed the edge of the seat. Ethan immediately turned toward her. "Hey, are you okay?" I don't know," she whispered. Her skin began to glow, faint silver. Something that should only happen during early bonding cycles, something she was supposed to be incapable of. Ethan caught her before she could fall. He held her carefully, supporting her weight without hesitation. She could feel the steady beat of his heart. It calmed her, even as her body trembled. "What's happening?" he asked, voice low and steady. "I do not know," she said, feeling fear mix with something else. He lifted her gently and carried her to the medical berth inside the ship. She tried to protest, but her voice was weak. Ethan checked her vitals with human equipment, frowning at the strange readings. "Your energy levels are rising," he said. "Is that dangerous?" "It should not be happening at all," she whispered, gripping his sleeve. "Only bonded Valorians experience this. I am not bonded. I cannot be bonded." Ethan held her hand without thinking. His warmth spread through her fingers, and her glowing skin brightened at the contact. Her breath caught as another pulse of energy moved through her. "Serenia," he said softly. "Whatever this is, I'm not leaving you alone. I'll help you through it." His voice carried a calm strength. She had heard many voices in her life, commands, orders, warnings, but no voice had ever sounded like that. Safe. Steady. True. The glow around her body slowly dimmed, but the warmth inside her chest stayed. She looked at him with wide eyes, realizing something unbelievable. "Ethan," she whispered, "my body reacted to you." He froze for a moment, stunned. "To me? Why?" "I do not know," her voice trembled. "But this has never happened with my own people." A mix of confusion and fear moved through her mind, but Ethan stayed by her side. He placed a blanket around her shoulders and sat quietly until her breathing became normal again. Outside, the stars continued their silent dance, unaware that everything Serenia believed about herself was changing. She had been given away as an insult, offered like an unworthy gift, but the very human she was given to was awakening something inside her that her people said she never had. Her last thought before sleep took her was simple and frightening. If a human could cause this reaction, then maybe she was never barren at all, and maybe her fate had just begun. Ethan barely slept that night. He stayed close to the medical berth where Serenia rested, checking the monitors again and again. The strange readings made no sense to human machines. Her energy levels rose and fell in soft waves, like something inside her was trying to wake up slowly. He watched her carefully as she slept, her pale silver glow fading but still present under her skin. Every time she shifted, he leaned forward, ready to help if she needed him. Serenia, however, slept strangely calm. For the first time in many years, her dreams were not full of echoes of shame or silent halls. Instead, she felt a gentle warmth surrounding her. She could not see anything clearly, but she felt a strong presence beside her, steady and comforting. Even in dreams, she knew it was Ethan. When morning cycle lights brightened the ship, Serenia opened her eyes slowly. Ethan noticed immediately. He stepped closer, unsure how she would feel. She blinked at the soft light, then at him, trying to understand the strange comfort in her chest. "Are you feeling better?" he asked quietly. She sat up with some effort, holding the blanket around her shoulders. "Better? Yes," she said softly. But confused, he let out a relieved breath. "That makes two of us." Serenia looked at the medical scanner. "Your machines, they cannot read everything, can they?" "No," Ethan admitted. "Human tech wasn't built for Valorian bioenergy. But whatever happened to you, it wasn't normal. Right?" She stared at her hands, watching faint lines of silver appear and disappear on her skin like soft sparks. "No, it was not normal." She hesitated, but Ethan waited. He never pushed her. "In my species," she began, "glowing patterns like these appear when a bond begins to form." Ethan frowned slightly. "Bond? You mean emotional?" "More than emotional," she explained. "It is biological, spiritual, and energetic together. It is rare. It happens only when two life signatures perfectly match. But I was told all my life that I could not bond at all. My energy was weak, unstable. None of my people ever triggered it. Until now," Ethan said quietly. She nodded, still staring at her glowing hand. "Yes, until you." Ethan didn't know what to say. He didn't want to make her uncomfortable or force meaning into something he didn't understand. But he could see this frightened her in a way she didn't want to admit. "So, what does it mean?" he asked gently. "I do not know," she whispered. "This should not be possible." The ship beeped softly as an alert flashed on the console. Ethan tapped the screen. "There's a human medical outpost nearby. We can stop there and get help someone who knows more about alien biology than I do." Serenia nodded slowly. "It may be wise. I do not want to collapse again." Ethan set coordinates for the outpost. As the ship traveled, he kept glancing at her to make sure she was steady. Serenia noticed, and though she felt embarrassed, she also felt something warm in her chest. Every time he looked at her with concern. Hours later, the Aurora line landed at the outpost. Human doctors scanned Serenia carefully, running tests with advanced equipment designed for multi-species health. Serenia sat patiently, though her heart beat with unease. Ethan stood beside her the whole time. After a long silence, the lead doctor frowned at the data. "Your energy pattern is stabilizing, Princess. That's unusual for someone considered barren." Serenia tensed. "Stabilizing?" "Yes," the doctor confirmed. "Whatever was unstable before is now aligning with an external source." He looked at Ethan for a moment, then back at her. "Human presence seems to influence your bioenergy positively." Serenia felt her breath catch. Ethan blinked in surprise. "Me? How?" The doctor shrugged lightly. "Humans have a wide adaptability range. Our biology binds easily with outside systems. But her reaction is stronger than anything I've seen. It's almost like compatibility." Serenia looked down, her hands trembling slightly. "Memories of the palace? The whispers? The cruel laughter, everything came back sharply. All of them had told her she was broken. Yet here she was, reacting to a human, stabilizing because of him. The doctor continued scrolling through the data. There is something else. Ethan and Serenia both turned toward him. There is a developing energy core inside her. The doctor said carefully. It's faint, but it's forming. In Valorian biology, that usually means, Serenia finished the sentence in a shaking voice. A life core? The doctor nodded. Serenia felt dizzy again. Not like before. This time the world felt too big, too loud. She stood quickly and took a step back. No, that is impossible. I cannot form a life core. My body was tested many times. The doctor spoke gently. Tests can be wrong. Life finds ways we don't understand. And life? Ethan stepped forward and placed a steadying hand on her arm. She didn't pull away. His touch calmed her confused thoughts. What exactly does a life core mean? Ethan asked. In Valorian terms, Serenia whispered, it means the beginning of creation, the earliest stage of offspring. Ethan's eyes widened slightly, but he didn't react with fear or shock. Instead, he looked at her with concern. Serenia, are you okay? She shook her head slowly. I do not understand. This cannot be happening, the doctor continued. It is extremely early and energy-based. Not physical yet. But it's growing. Responding to both of your signatures. Serenia pressed both hands over her chest. She felt the warmth there, almost like a heartbeat, but not hers. A new spark. A faint, glowing essence. Her entire life she had been told she was empty, but now she felt something alive inside her. She sank onto the medical bed, tears forming though she tried to hide them. Ethan crouched beside her. Serenia, he said softly, no matter what this is, you're not alone. I promise. She looked at him then. Really looked. In his eyes, she saw no judgment, no fear, no disgust. Only a steady calm that made the confusion inside her slow down. The outpost kept her overnight for observation. Ethan stayed right outside her door, refusing to leave even when the doctors told him they would watch her. Serenia didn't know why, but that thought made her chest warm again. During the night, she stepped out quietly and found him sitting in the hallway, leaning against the wall. He looked tired but awake. You did not have to stay, she said. I wanted to, he replied. She sat beside him. They stayed in silence for a long time, listening to distant footsteps of nurses and the hum of the outpost systems. Serenia lifted her hand and looked at the silver patterns that glowed very softly across her skin. When my people mocked me, she said quietly, I believed them. I thought something was wrong with me. I tried to accept it, because it hurt less than fighting. Ethan listened without interrupting. But now, this life core, I do not know what to feel. Ethan thought for a long moment. Then he spoke in a gentle voice. Maybe don't think of it as something you're forced into. Think of it as a sign that you aren't broken. Maybe you were never broken. Her breath trembled. But why would this happen with a human, and not one of my own kind? He gave a small smile. Maybe humans are better for you than you think. She looked away quickly, her cheeks warming, but she didn't deny the truth of his words. The next morning, the doctor cleared her to leave. Your energy is stable for now, he said. But you'll need monitoring. Whatever is forming inside you, it's unique. It may attract attention. Serenia stiffened. Attention? From my people? Maybe. The doctor answered honestly. Empires don't ignore miracles or scandals. Empires, Ethan sensed her fear and stepped closer. We'll handle it, he said, one step at a time. As they left the outpost and boarded the ship again, Serenia felt the warmth stronger than before. She placed a hand on her chest and swallowed hard. Ethan stood beside her at the ship's entrance. You ready to go? She nodded slowly. Yes. Wherever we go, I feel safer with you. Ethan didn't reply in words, but his gentle smile told her everything she needed to know. As the Aurora line lifted into space once more, both of them silently understood that nothing would ever go back to normal. The life core inside her glowed softly. Responding to its two sources, Serenia no longer felt empty. Instead, she felt a new path opening, frightening and strange, yet warm and full of possibilities. She had no idea what challenges waited ahead. She only knew one truth. A human had awakened something inside her that her own people never could, and her life was about to change forever. The journey back into open space started quietly. Ethan guided the Aurora line through soft starlight, while Serenia sat beside him, her hands resting on her lap. The warmth inside her chest pulsed gently, like a small glow waiting for the right moment to grow brighter. She tried her best to stay calm, but with every passing hour she felt something shifting inside her, not painful, just unfamiliar, like her body was adjusting to a new rhythm. Ethan saw her touching her chest from time to time and looked at her with quiet worry. "Is it hurting?" he asked softly. "No," she said, shaking her head. "It is not pain. It is awareness. I can feel it forming, like a tiny light that listens." He nodded slowly, though he clearly didn't understand everything. "If anything changes, you tell me right away, okay?" She looked at him, noticing genuine concern on his face. "Yes, I will." For a while they traveled in silence, until the calm was suddenly broken by a loud alarm. Ethan's eyes shifted immediately to the console. Red lights flashed in front of him. "Multiple ships incoming," he said, voice tense. "Not human." Serenia froze. "Valorian?" He checked the signatures again. "Yes, their ships are fast. They'll be here in minutes." Her heart twisted painfully. The doctor had warned them that news might spread, but she didn't think it would happen so quickly. They must have learned about the life core. "They can't take you," Ethan said firmly, already adjusting the ship's defense systems. "I won't let them." Serenia touched his arm. "Ethan, they are my people. They have laws. If they demand my return, you could be punished." He shook his head. "I don't care. You're not a prisoner. You're not going anywhere, unless you choose it yourself." Her breath trembled at his words. No one had ever said something like that to her, not even her own family. Before she could speak, a deep echo vibrated through the ship as a Valorian cruiser appeared outside, glowing with sharp silver light. A message came through the communication channel. "Princess Serenia," a cold voice declared. "You are ordered to board immediately. You have been taken unlawfully by humans. The council demands your retrieval." Serenia felt her throat tighten. She knew that voice, Lord Valeth, one of the nobles who mocked her often. Ethan hit the comm switch. She wasn't taken. She came with us because she was forced into a ceremony she never agreed to. Valeth's voice darkened with anger. "Silence, human. You have no authority to speak." Serenia stepped forward. "Lord Valeth, I am safe. The humans have treated me with respect. I do not wish to return until we understand what is happening to me." A cold laugh came through the speakers. "We already know, Princess. You show signs of a life core. You will be taken into custody for examination. The Empire will control this matter." Serenia clenched her fists. Her whole life, these same nobles controlled her fate. Even now, when she felt something precious forming inside her, they wished to steal it away and use it for political gain. She felt fear rising, but also a new strength she never felt before. Ethan moved closer to her. "We're not going with them," Valeth spoke again, angrier. "You cannot protect her. Surrender now." Ethan switched the comm off and turned to Serenia. "We need to run. Hold on." The Aurora line shot forward, engines blazing. The Valorian ships followed immediately, firing small warning shots that shook the vessel. Serenia gripped the seat. "Ethan, you cannot fight a cruiser." "I'm not fighting," he said very calmly. "I'm outsmarting." He maneuvered sharply through a field of floating ice fragments. The Valorian ships hesitated, then chased again. Serenia felt panic rising. But Ethan never lost focus. His hands moved quickly across the controls, and his voice stayed steady. "We'll reach a nebula soon. Their scanners won't work well inside." "Will it hide us?" she asked. For a little while, the ship broke through the glowing blue cloud of the nebula. Lightning-like streams of energy danced across its surface. Inside the haze, vision became blurry. Ethan shut off all outside lights and slowed the engines to hide their trail. For several minutes, everything was quiet. Serenia let out a shaking breath. Why are they so desperate? A life core is not unheard of in our species. Ethan looked at her seriously. But isn't yours special? She placed a hand over her heart. It is bonding with both of us. That has never been recorded. My people fear what they cannot control. Ethan leaned back in his seat, thinking. So, what do you want to do? She froze at the question. No one had ever asked her what she wanted. Every decision in her life was made for her. But now, Ethan looked at her, waiting patiently. Serenia closed her eyes for a moment. I want to face them. Not as a burden. Not as someone broken. I want them to see the truth. Then I'll stand with you, Ethan said. Her eyes widened. Ethan, they will not welcome you. You may be seen as the cause of this scandal. I'm not letting you walk into that alone, he said firmly. Not now. Not ever. Her heart warmed again. The glow inside her chest pulsed gently, as if responding to his words. She touched the faint light through her skin, feeling a deep connection she could not explain. They waited until the ship's signals faded. Then, with slow determination, the Aurora line changed course toward Valoris. The journey felt heavier this time. Serenia spent hours sitting quietly, thinking about the moment she would face the council. She imagined their harsh eyes, their cruel whispers, their disbelief. But then she looked at Ethan and remembered she was not the same frightened princess anymore. One night during the trip, the glow on her skin grew brighter. She gasped softly. Ethan rushed to her side. Is something wrong? No, she whispered. It is growing stronger. She lifted her hand, showing him the soft silver patterns, spreading like thin branches across her skin. Ethan watched with quiet awe. It's beautiful. She blushed slightly. You are not afraid? He smiled a little. Not of you. His words made her heart skip. She turned away, unable to hide her warmth. The life core pulsed again as if sharing her emotion. When they finally reached Valoris, the planet glowed like a massive silver jewel. But instead of feeling small and ashamed as she usually did, Serenia stood straight. The Aurora line landed outside the council palace under heavy guard. Valorian soldiers surrounded them, but Ethan stayed close to her side, ready to act if needed. The massive doors opened, and Serenia walked forward with her head high. She could feel Ethan right behind her, a quiet strength she leaned on. Inside, the council chamber was filled with nobles. Their eyes widened as the princess entered with a human at her side. Whispers filled the air immediately. That is her. She carries a life core. And with a human? Impossible. Lord Valeth stepped forward. Princess Serenia, you return at last. We will now secure the life core for proper handling. Serenia's voice was steady when she answered. No, you do not control it. It is part of me, and the human beside me. Gasps filled the chamber. Ethan stepped forward, not aggressively, just firmly. She isn't here for you to take apart or study. She's here to speak. Valeth glared at him. Human, you will be silent in this chamber. Ethan didn't move. Not when her safety is threatened. Serenia felt a burst of strength. She stepped ahead of Ethan, facing the council completely. For years you mocked me, she said. You treated me as a mistake, a broken piece of the royal line. But now something impossible has happened. A life core is forming inside me, not because of your tests, not because of your rules, but because of someone who treated me with kindness. Her voice echoed through the chamber. Some nobles looked shocked. Others looked angry. But a few looked thoughtful. Valeth spoke again, his voice full of disbelief. You expect us to believe that a human caused this miracle? Serenia raised her glowing hand. Silver light spread across her skin in beautiful lines, pulsing softly. The life core responds to him, she said. Not to any Valorian. The chamber was silent. Then a small, bright pulse of energy shone from her chest, warm and alive, like a heartbeat. No one in the room could deny what they had just witnessed. Serenia stood tall, no longer the frightened princess they all remembered. The life core glowed inside her, stronger than ever, and beside her, Ethan stood like a solid wall of calm, proving she was no longer alone. Silence filled the grand council chamber as the soft pulse from Serenia's chest faded into the air. Every noble stared at her, some with awe, some with confusion, and others with deep anger. The glow was clear, undeniable, and alive. It was the life core, something no one believed she could ever form. Something she had formed because of a human standing beside her. Ethan kept his posture steady, watching every movement in the room. He could tell that Serenia had stepped into dangerous territory, but he also felt her strength. She was not shaking anymore. She did not look down. She faced her people like someone who finally knew her own value. Lord Valeth stepped forward again. His expression was tight and furious. You are making a mistake, princess. This hybrid creation cannot be allowed. The Empire must study it before anything happens. Serenia's eyes turned sharper. Study? You want to imprison me. You want to use the life core as a tool for your political games. Murmurs rose among the nobles, but none dared interrupt. Valeth's lips curled. You carry royal blood, princess. Your choices are not your own. Ethan stepped forward before Serenia could reply. That's not true. Her choices belong to her. She isn't your property. The council erupted in offended whispers. Valeth pointed toward Ethan as if he were something dirty. Human, you do not understand our laws. If the princess is carrying a life core, she must be placed under Empire control. That child, whatever it becomes, belongs to Valoris. Serenia suddenly felt a sharp wave of protectiveness inside her chest. The life core pulsed as if responding to her emotions. She placed a hand over her heart and took a step forward. No, she said, her voice stronger than ever. Valeth stiffened at the statement. The chamber seemed to grow colder. A small group of nobles began whispering urgently. Others looked torn, unsure what to believe. Serenia had been mocked for years. Many doubted her worth. But now, standing in front of them glowing with an impossible life core, she looked more royal than she ever had before. Ethan stayed behind her, close enough to support her if she needed, but far enough to let her lead. He respected her place, her strength, her voice. Serenia felt it through the bond, and another soft glow warmed her chest. A high-ranking noblewoman stepped forward slowly. Her voice was calm and thoughtful. Princess Serenia, the life core cannot lie. If it responds to you and this human, then something ancient has awakened. Something even the Empire cannot fully understand. Valeth shot her a hateful glare. Do not defend this scandal. The noblewoman ignored him. She looked straight at Serenia. Princess, our laws are old. But there is one law, even older one, almost forgotten. Serenia frowned. Which law? Maternal sovereignty, the noblewoman said. Any Valorian who carries a life core has full protection until the core matures. No council, no noble, not even the queen can command her without her agreement. Gasps filled the room. Valeth looked horrified. That law is ancient, he snapped. Obsolete. It is still valid, the noblewoman replied calmly, and it belongs to her. Serenia felt her breath catch. She had heard of the law long ago, buried in old lessons. It was created in a time when life cores were treasured above politics. A mother carrying new life was placed above all authority for the safety of the species. And now, she was that mother. The life core glowed again, as if agreeing with the truth being spoken. Valeth slammed his hand on the council table. This is madness. You cannot allow a human to be part of our royal future. The Empire will be mocked. The Empire already mocked me, Serenia said quietly. Yet her words carried through the chamber like a blade. You mocked me. You used me. You gave me away as a joke. Valeth froze. The council went silent again. Serenia continued, her voice steady. You did not care about my honor or my pain. But this life core, it is innocent. It came to existence not because of your tests or your cruelty, but because a human showed me kindness when my own people did not. She turned toward Ethan for a moment. He met her eyes, and she felt safe enough to breathe again. I will not let you harm it, she declared. I will not let you harm him. Valeth trembled with rage. You shame the royal line. Serenia closed the distance between them until she stood only a few steps away. No. You did. Every time you laughed at me. Every time you tried to hide me. Every time you called me useless, you brought shame to this empire. The entire chamber felt the shock of her courage. Ethan watched in awe. This was not the quiet, frightened princess he met a short time ago. This was someone rising into her own power. Valeth opened his mouth to speak again, but the noblewoman raised a hand. Enough. The princess is protected by the old law. Her word is final. Other nobles murmured their agreement. They could not challenge a law meant to protect life itself. Even if they disliked Serenia, they could not legally or morally strip her of this right. Valeth stood trembling, furious but powerless. Serenia turned back to the council. I will remain on Valoris for now. But by my choice. And Ethan stays with me. The room erupted in whispers again, but no one dared object. Ethan blinked, surprised and touched. Serenia, you don't have to. She looked at him with gentle warmth. I want you here. The life core responds to you. And so do I. Life core responds to you. Life core responds to you. Her words made his chest tighten with emotion. He had helped many people before. Saved lives, carried survivors, but he had never been needed the way Serenia needed him now. And he wanted to be there for her. Valeth finally spoke again, weaker than before. What will the queen say? The truth, Serenia replied, because I will say it myself. The queen entered moments later, having heard the commotion. She looked tired. But when she saw Serenia glowing softly, her eyes widened with hope rather than fear. Serenia, is it true? Serenia nodded. A life core is forming. The queen covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. My daughter. Finally, for the first time in years, Serenia felt her mother's arms around her. The life core pulsed with warmth, as if feeling the emotion too. The queen turned to Ethan. Human, thank you for caring for her when we failed. Ethan bowed his head respectfully. She deserved better than the way she was treated. The queen nodded slowly. Yes, she did. Valeth looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole, but no one was listening to him anymore. The queen then addressed the council. The old law stands. Serenia will stay under maternal protection. Anyone who tries to interfere with her or the life core will face exile. The nobles bowed. Even Valeth had to bend his head, though it burned him inside. Later, Serenia and Ethan walked through the quiet palace gardens. Night lights glowed softly, reflecting off silver leaves. The atmosphere felt peaceful for the first time since they arrived. Ethan looked around. So this is where you grew up? Yes, she said softly, but it never felt like home. Does it now? He asked gently. She shook her head. Not yet. But maybe someday. With the right people around me. Sin, he smiled. I can stay as long as you want. Or leave if it brings trouble. Serenia stepped closer to him, placing her hand over his. You are not trouble, Ethan, she said. You are the reason I am standing here today. You are the reason the life core exists. And... She hesitated, her cheeks warming as the life core pulsed a soft silver inside her. And you are the one I trust. Ethan's voice softened. I'm with you, Serenia. Whatever happens next, we'll face it together. She nodded, feeling the truth of his words settle warmly inside her chest. The life core seemed to glow brighter, as if accepting the future being shaped around it. Serenia looked up at the stars above the palace, feeling something she had never felt before. She was no longer the barren princess. She was a mother in the making. She was someone valued. She was someone loved not because of her title, but because of who she was. And she had returned to her people not in shame but in strength, with a human by her side and a new life glowing within her. Serenia stepped into a future she once believed she would never have. Her story was no longer one of humiliation. It was the beginning of a new age, an age born from kindness, courage, and the unexpected bond between a princess and a human.